Good morning, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of Keeping an Eye on the Geopolitical Ball with me, Jamie Shea, Senior Fellow at Friends of Europe. Here in London, the government is looking forward to sending in just a couple of days' time its new aircraft carrier, the Queen Elizabeth, with a task force to the Indo-Pacific region and the South China Sea. This is, if you like, the first big manifestation of the new global Britain doctrine that the government is pushing in the wake of Brexit. Just a couple of months ago, the UK also came out with its new foreign and security policy called the Integrated Review. Now, in a way, this is reassuring because it shows that despite Brexit, the government clearly wants to keep Britain as a globally involved and responsible power, helping to solve disputes, dealing with global challenges, and helping also to contain the rise of the authoritarians. This is not a Trumpian exercise in the UK first and pulling up the drawbridge. Also, the UK clearly wants to play a role as a kind of global convener of the democracies, bringing clusters of those countries together around common endeavours. This was manifest when Britain hosted the G7 foreign ministers in London just a week ago, and also in the fact that the UK is chairing in November the COP26 Global Climate Change Summit in Glasgow. Although, of course, when Britain doesn't have the good fortune to occupy these presidency seats, it will have fewer opportunities to play that convening role. Also, for NATO types, the commitment of the UK to the NATO first and foremost, the fact that the UK is ramping up its defence spending to 2.2% of GDP, the fact that although it's cutting by 10,000 the size of the army, it's investing the savings in modernizing the equipment with tanks, with cyber capabilities, space capabilities, an AI center, and new frigates and ships. All of this shows that the UK intends to remain a global military power, and it's also increasing by 80 its nuclear warheads, which shows it's still very much committed to nuclear deterrence. The review contains a lot on the soft power side as well, greater focus on human rights, greater focus on sanctions policy, greater focus on leading on norms, particularly in the area of space and cyber, a more open society when it comes to attracting talent, and increasing Britain's diplomatic network around the world. The UK already has the fourth largest such network. But despite all of these good intentions, I still have my question marks about global Britain. The first is the UK left the EU largely on the basis of sovereignty, but in signing any new trade agreement with China or the United States, in participating in multilateral frameworks, inevitably it's going to have to compromise on its sovereignty in the future, but maybe without, unlike in the EU, having a seat at the table when it comes to decision making. The second problem I have with this exercise is it really new? I mean, during the 40 years when the UK was part of the EU, it had the Commonwealth, it was part of the Five Eyes, intelligence sharing arrangement, it had the special relationship with the United States, it was a member and still is of the UN Security Council. The EU never stopped Britain being global Britain. It was never the kind of either or choice, either Europe or the Great Ocean that's being presented in this integrated review. The third problem I have is what exactly is the Indo-Pacific strategy beyond sending an aircraft carrier for a few weeks? Is it part of joining the US to contain China, or is it part of trading with China? There is a lot about that in the integrated review as well. Will the resources be there for this very activist role in which the UK wants to be everywhere all of the time and involved in all of the issues all of the time? There isn't much about priority setting or choices here. And finally, the EU part is barely mentioned in the review, as if Brussels has suddenly become toxic and has sort of disappeared into a Bermuda Triangle. All the more ironic when the United States, Canada, and Norway, the countries that Britain wants to link up with as part of global Britain, are re-engaging very firmly with the EU's common foreign security policy and defence capability programs as well. That part, the part of the EU, seems to be, unlike the rest of this review exercise, more driven by ideology than by a rational intellectual process of thinking. But of course, I suppose here in the UK, the question that most people will ask themselves is, will the domestic scene allow Boris Johnson and his government to really focus on lofty global Britain ambitions? The Scottish Nationalist Party emerged once again for the fourth time as the overwhelming winner of the Scottish elections last week, and they will push for a second referendum on independence. The situation in Ireland, Northern Ireland, is now much more fragile in the wake of Brexit, with many calling for Irish unity. Wales is red, while England has gone to the Conservatives and become blue. And Boris Johnson has really based his political success on promises to Labour voters, former Labour voters in the north of England, that he will devote vast resources on providing jobs and infrastructure to that region as part of his levelling up exercise. So the government has taken on a lot of very thorny domestic problems, which could, at the end of the day, put serious limitations on putting the muscle behind the rhetoric of global Britain. Thank you very much for watching, listening today. Always a pleasure to have you on the screen joining me. Hope to see you again very soon. Bye for now.